Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be comparing a 2021 Ford F-150 Raptor to a 2021 Ford Bronco Wildtrak. First and foremost, so a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Ford Lincoln here in Provo for giving me some time with the Wildtrak. If you want to order a new Bronco or a new Raptor, hit them up, link in the description down below to their inventory, and let's get right into the video. Now let's pop under the hoods of both of the vehicles. Starting over here with the Raptor, we have a turbocharged 3.5 liter V6, goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. It's good for 450 horsepower and then 510 pound-feet of torque, with fuel economy being 15 around town and then 16 on the highway because this Raptor has the 37 package. Now popping over here to the Bronco Wildtrak, this has the turbocharged 2.7 liter V6, also goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 330 horsepower and then 415 pound-feet of torque, with fuel economy being 17 around town and then 17 on the highway. And that's because this has the Sasquatch package with 35s. So we have a little bit less power, a little bit less torque, but better fuel economy over here. More power, more torque, worse fuel economy. Who would have thought? So we've got both of the keys here for the Bronco, and then there for the Raptor, and then we've got the Bronco, and then, well, you guys can see, but the Raptor logo on the Raptor key. But we're going to unlock both of them so you guys can see the accent lighting with both vehicles. So you guys can see the accent lighting with the Raptor, and then there with the Bronco. They're both really cool in their own right. But let's pop over here to the Raptor first and foremost. So you guys will notice that we've got the venting here in the center of the hood with the Raptor logo, and then the decal here on the hood. And then the hood, for the most part, is pretty flat. You do have the bulges on either side, which look really good. And then you guys can see again the LED accent light. This does have the projector LED lights. They're super bright at night. Gigantic Ford logo there in the center. We've got the fog lights down below with the parking sensors integrated into the front bumper, and then we have the skid plate down below that with the tow hooks on either side. But it's everything for the Raptor. Popping over here to the Bronco, it's a lot more simplistic, but you guys will notice we've got the Wildtrak logo there in the center, and you guys can see just gigantic flat hood right there. Obviously those two things are raised, and then notice we've got the LED reflector lights here on the Bronco, so a little bit different from a lighting perspective. Got the Bronco logo there in the center. Parking sensors here with the front bumper with the tow hooks, and you guys can see just how aggressive that is, and it's pretty interesting to see the height difference. Again, this Raptor has 37s and then that has 35s, but yeah, it's pretty cool to see. Well, speaking of tires, let's go over the tire and wheel setup. So we've got 17-inch wheels over here on the Bronco, and then 17-inch wheels on the Raptor. We've got 35s, and then we have 37s. And you guys can see both of them have beadlock capable wheels from the factory. I think design-wise, they both look really cool. I'm a little bit more partial to these Bronco wheels. I think that just because of the coloration and everything, I think they look just a little bit better. And then you guys can see here with the front suspension. Now, the other difference is the Bronco is going to have the Bilstein position sensitive shocks from the factory. The Raptor is going to have the new live valve from Fox, so substantially different setup. Obviously there's different manufacturers for the shocks, but also just the setup overall. And you can see the gigantic oversized fender flares here on the Raptor, and then also on the Bronco as well. We have our Wildtrak Sasquatch badge right there. We've got venting here on the Raptor. We've got the off-road side steps here with the Raptor. If you guys are wondering, these mud flaps are aftermarket from Rock Blocks, but yeah, just so you guys are wondering on that. And then also we've got the Ford keypad on both of them actually, and then you guys can see here with the rear setup on both vehicles. And then here's a better look with everything in the rear of the Raptor with the shocks, and then we have the 5-link coil suspension here on the back end with the Raptor. And then with the Bronco, we kind of have to go under here so you guys can see the Bilsteins there in the back. But yeah, that's everything for the sides of both of the vehicles. And you guys can kind of see the difference in how they stylize things. With the Raptor, the fender bulges out and then you've got a big fender flare. Whereas with the Bronco, you've got a bigger fender flare and the fender bulges out, but just not as much. Now let's go over things here in the rear, and this is where things are substantially different. So obviously the Raptor is built off of an F-150, so it is a truck. So we have a truck bed with it. This has the automatic tailgate, so it lowers down and it raises by itself. You've got the bed step that's integrated into that. I don't have a bed liner yet. Trust me, I will get one in the future. But we've got LED bed lights. We've got the power outlet as well. And you guys can see, adds a good level of practicality and can raise that up. Now, popping over here to the Bronco, on the other hand, Since it's an SUV, we have a regular hatch, and well, look at that. Jory does some golfing. That's a nice club. Anyways, you guys can see storage space back here is really solid, but this is obviously where a huge difference is going to be with both of the vehicles. Since the Raptor is a truck and built off of an F-150 platform, it's substantially longer than the Bronco. So they're about even nose to nose. And so you guys can see just how much longer the Raptor is. And I'll actually step back here so you guys can really see. So obviously that's the tire on the Bronco. So if you take away the tire, just look how much, like, look at that. Look how much farther the Raptor goes back compared to the Bronco. So it's quite a bit longer. Now let's go over the door panels with both vehicles in the rear. So notice here with the Bronco, you've got really nice padding and just down below, and I love these seats. So you can see that you've got the black here with the tan, and there is actually a little bit of blue stitching, tons of contrast happening here with the seats. And then you guys can see here with the rubber floor mats there in the center. And I'm actually going to pop in so I can show you guys the difference with the legroom. So you guys can see here on the Bronco, and also the headroom as well. There's some charging ports and everything down there with the Bronco. But anyways, let's go from that and pop over here to the Raptor. So you guys can see, this is actually super similar to the material there in the Bronco, but this is a little bit different here at the top of the door panel. And the door panel itself is a lot larger, as you guys could see earlier. And then you can see the seats here on the Raptor, blue with the orange stitching, definitely a cool touch. And then popping in, side steps help out. You guys can see just how much more legroom there is. And then headroom as well. The Raptor's a little bit more practical with this in the back as well. You've got cup holders, you've got vents back here, you've got heated seats, charging ports. So again, since it's a lot bigger, you've got more space. And then also they add a few more amenities as well. So that's definitely nice. And also look at that carbon fiber. But anyways, so yeah. Here's the door panel at the front of the Bronco. So again, you guys can see all the soft touch here. And then the mirrors are fixed on the body, so it's always like a freaky situation when you open the door, and I always think it's gonna hit the mirror. But anyways, they've got blind spot monitoring. And then here are the seats at the front. So you've got the leather, again, you've got that blue stitching, which is really cool, just the contrast with all of it. They are power adjustable. There's the pedals down below. We have our light controls right here. This is for the parking brake, and then that is for the hood release. And then you've got the grab handle to help with getting in, and we'll actually pop in here, start her up. Woo, we'll move this little cloth out of the way. But as you guys can see, you've got a steering wheel with leather wrapped around it. We have our controls for the center stack, voice command controls, cruise control on the other side with the volume controls, turn signal, windshield wiper stock. And then as for the center gauge cluster, it's kind of like a mix between analog and a screen. So you've got that big screen there in the center, and then the analog gauge off to the side. And then this screen basically just shows you different bits of information on the vehicle. You guys can see the fuel economy so far here with the Bronco. And then since this is the Wildtrak, you have front and rear lockers, trail turn assist as well, stability control, and then hazard lights. If you get a Badlands, then you can also get the stabilizer bar disconnect. But the Wildtrak is supposed to be just high-speed stuff technically, so that's why it doesn't have it. Anyways, moving from that to the infotainment system, you guys can see you've got the backup camera with trajectory lines. And the thing that I love that Ford does is they use like the whole screen for the camera. Some other manufacturers like Ram won't, they don't do that. So it just looks really good from a camera perspective. And this does have a front camera as well. You guys saw that earlier, so you've got the front view. And other than that, 12-inch display responds really well, and you know, it's very nicely integrated here into the dash. And then down below here, we've got our analog controls for the radio, climate controls. This does have a dual zone climate, heated seats here for the front passengers. And then notice we've got some extra storage space down here, and then we have our little Ford plaque, and then another grab handle with the blue accenting. We have the transmission select, or well, yes, for the 10-speed automatic. And then you guys can see the drive mode select just down below for the GOAT modes. Got our 2-wheel high, 4-wheel high, 4-wheel low, 4-wheel auto, and then the off-road cruise control with all the window controls. If you guys are wondering, I'll show you guys the drive modes. You can see the drive mode difference between the two vehicles. So you've got your normal, eco, sport, slippery, mud ruts, sand, and then you've got the Baja mode. So those are the different drive modes here with the Wildtrak. And then you've got the center console. We just have the regular glove box. Got the Bronco logo there at the top. We have a bunch of auxiliary switches here, 6 of them to be exact. And then the Bronco, you can take off the top here. So for this portion right here, it's kind of hard for you guys to see. You basically can just do these latches, which is pretty cool. And then for the back portion, rather, you have to use tools. But yeah, you can take the top off. You can take the doors off, just like a Jeep Wrangler. Wrangler. It's got all that fun stuff. But anyways, let's head over to the Raptor. Now here's a door panel at the front with the Raptor. It's identical to what you have in the rear, and then we have a traditional mirror that's attached to the door. Again, blind spot monitoring, all of our window controls. We got the memory seats, and you guys can see the speaker for the sound system. And then we do have speakers in the headrest as well. And then you got the Raptor logo here, and you guys can see the seats here at the front, really nice bucket seats. Pedal layout down below. And then over here, you guys can see the light controls, pedal adjustment, mirror lights, all that fun stuff. And, well, let's start her up. Ooh! Fancy. So you guys can see the steering wheel here. We've got really nice leather wrapped around the steering wheel. This is definitely smoother than what you have in the Bronco. And then you've got the contrasted stitching here. We have all of the different modes here for the exhaust, the suspension, and the steering controls for the center stack. Volume controls, we got the cruise control. It does have adaptive cruise control. We've got these paddle shifters here in the back so you can manually shift yourself with that 10-speed automatic. Turn signal / windshield wiper stock. And then again, we've got the full digital gauge cluster. So it basically gives you the same information that the Bronco gives you. It's just a full digital gauge cluster rather than half digital, half analog like with the Bronco. And then as for the drive modes, we got normal, deep snow, sand, Baja, rock crawl, and then on the other side we have our sport mode, we've got our tow haul mode, and then we have our slippery drive mode as well. So there's no eco mode, for example, so a little bit different with the drive modes with them. And then moving from that, here at the top of the screen, it's kind of hard to see on the camera, but there's auto stop start. There's a button for the camera to turn that on or off. This has a 360 camera just like the Bronco. There's parking assistance, hazard lights, stability control, and then kind of like an off-road cruise control. And again, like I said, this has a 12-inch display just like the Bronco, so it's literally all the same. Analog controls for it are just down below, just like with the Bronco. And then we have dual zone climate. Now this has ventilated seats, whereas the Bronco just has heated seats. And then we've got a driveline select, again, same as the Bronco. You've got two-wheel drive, four-wheel high, four-wheel auto, four-wheel low, and then we have a locker just in the rear, so we don't have any front locker or anything like that. And then there's no trail turn assist either here with the Raptor, so that's another feature that you get with the Bronco that you don't get with the Raptor. Wireless phone charger, and then you can see the covering for that, all that fun stuff. A couple cup holders. We got the shifter. We have the center console. It says Raptor on it. A little bit bigger than what you have in the Bronco. Well, quite a bit bigger than what you have in the Bronco. And then we have dual glove box here in the Raptor, whereas the Bronco just has the one glove box, so that's a little bit different. And then you can see the material use here on the dash. And then we have a power sliding window in the rear. And then we have a panoramic sunroof, so obviously you can't take off the doors in the top in the Raptor like you can the Bronco. So a little bit different setup. And then also we still have 6 auxiliary switches. Now let's get into pricing with both of the vehicles, and I'm also going to go over current market values as well. So a loaded up 4-door Wildtrak is roughly in like the high 50s, low 60s MSRP wise, depending on the exact options. And then this is a 37 package Raptor, which stickers for about $82,000. Most 37 package Raptors will be in that like $80,000 range. Now actual market value, these Broncos are still selling for around $70,000 to $80,000+ depending on the exact spec and everything. And then as for the Raptor, they're selling for like $90,000 to $100,000+ again, depending on the spec and everything. I want you guys to let me know in the comment section below if you would pick the Raptor or the Bronco and why. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Ford Lincoln here in Provo for giving me some time with this Bronco Wildtrak. Check out their inventory in the description down below. I'll see all of you in the next video.